everyone, this is Carla and you have reached my FlossTube channel, Carla being Crafty. I normally do a Sunday FlossTube video, but today is a FlossTube extra. It's kind of a stitch with me, it's actually a bead with me, and I have a Halloween tag to do. Today is Wednesday, it's October 28th. So this is the perfect time to do the Halloween tag, and I figured I better get it done or I wasn't going to be able to do it at all. So what I'm going to be working on today while I'm talking is I'm going to be working on this Hill Buttons and Beads kit. I have not completed the stitching, but I'm at a point where I can go ahead and start doing some of the beading. The border is like a stitch and then a bead and then a stitch and then a bead, so that will be really easy for me to work on while I'm talking to you. And I thought it might be interesting for you to watch that. Just like a regular stitch along. You can just listen or you can watch or stitch along. If you've never worked on a Hill kit before, the ones that are beaded, the beads come packaged. They're all well, they're Hill beads, obviously, but they package them like more than one color in a bag, like that, which I don't love. But what I end up doing is I'll pour out the bag in a tray, and then I will actually separate them with a tweezer. I have a bunch of these little plastic containers, you know, that you can get for lip balm or whatever, and I got a bunch of them for diamond painting drills, and then realized, like, why am I keeping these drills? I don't really need them, so I've gotten rid of a lot of the drills, and then I have these containers, so they're perfect for beads. And then I just put the number on a label on the top. So these are the black ones that I sorted out. There were 3 bags of beads. These 2 obviously I haven't done anything with, but the first bag had the black ones, some orange ones, and some petite purple. The other thing with Hill beads is there's usually 2 different sizes. These are like the regular size, and then there's tinier ones that they call petite, and they have you stitch them in a different way. So basically the regular size ones you do with a 10th stitch, and then the petite ones you actually do with a cross stitch. But I'm just going to use these black ones while I do the tag, and I'm putting them in a little diamond painting tray because I just have a bunch of them, and I think that that's just an easy way to do it. And then I'm going to be using my little bead finger that I got from 1-2-3 Stitch. And this is kind of like a Velcro kind of thing, but it's kind of sticky, rubbery too. And then you just dip your finger in the tray of beads and you can pick up a couple. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be working on, and let's get started on this Halloween tag. So before I start, I should, I guess, give you guys a caveat as far as Halloween, and because a lot of these questions are about like scary movies and stuff, and I absolutely do not like scary movies. I'm a complete wimp when it comes to them. Every so often there'll be a scary movie that I'm intrigued by, and I'll make, well, when I was living with my brother, I would make him watch it with me, like during the day with all the lights on and stuff. And then, so there's a couple movies that are considered scary movies that I actually really like. I like Sleepy Hollow, and I like The Others. And there's probably a couple more, but those are the first 2 that come to mind. I found this tag. It's called 30 Spooky Halloween Tube Tag Questions. It's just, I just did a search on Google for like YouTube Halloween tags, and came across this from, I don't know if it's Mama Cat's losing it or just Mama's losing it, but I think that's the person who originally did the tag. So there's 30 questions, but I don't know that I might skip some because they're not relevant for me or whatever. So the first one, it says my favorite horror or Halloween themed song. So I mean, if you're going to talk about the campy ones, yeah, I love Monster Mash. I like hearing it every year. I think that's cute. And then I was a teenager in the 80s, so of course I love Thriller, because, you know, you pretty much have to if you were a teenager in the 80s. You have to love Thriller. So I do. Let's see. I'm skipping question number 2. And question number 3 is, have you ever played with a Ouija board? I want to say yes to that. I've never really, like, you know, it's like one of those things that it's like, I think fun to play with, but I don't totally really believe in it. And I don't really think that, you know, I think that I never trust that somebody isn't pushing it. So, but I have played with it, and I don't have one. I'm not like super freaked out by them, but I have played with one. Okay. Number 6, I'm skipping a couple there. If you were dared to spend the night in a haunted house, would you do it? I'd have to say most likely the answer to that would be no. I won't go even to like a haunted house, a fun haunted house, like a Halloween haunted house. That whole thing, nope, don't like it. I'm not into the scares kind of thing. I learned probably in my mid-20s to just accept that about myself. I live in Southern California by Disneyland and Knott's Berry Farm and stuff, and every year we have what's called Knott's Scary Farm, and they redo the park at night, and there's monsters roaming around, and they jump out at you. And used to be like back in the late 70s, early 80s, they would actually like grab at you and stuff, but then that was nixed. I think somebody ended up getting like punched or something like that. So then it got to be where they couldn't touch you, but they have like these like noisemaker things that they shake in your face. And a lot of the rides are like retooled, and there's like monsters that are walking around in there and everything. And I've been to Knott's Scary Farm, God, at least 4 times when I was in high school and junior high and college and stuff. And I hated it every time. Like, I was excited to go because I was supposed to be excited to go, and then I would get there and I would truly spend the evening in a state of dread. So I finally figured out, like in my mid-20s, to stop saying yes to going on these Knott's Scary Farm things because I really didn't enjoy it. I'd find an excuse to like hang out in the roller coaster area because the lights are on brighter in that area, and there's not really very many monsters. It's where they have fortune tellers and stuff like that. So I would try and hang out in that area because I wouldn't go in any of the rides that had things jumping out at me, especially the ones where you had to walk through it. Yeah, so if I were dared to spend the night in a real life haunted house, I definitely wouldn't. Now, I've worked in a haunted house before. It wasn't really scary. It was for little kids. So it was like the monsters that we had like the Count from Sesame Street, and there was like a big spider in a spider web, and we had people like playing all these parts and stuff. And then when they got to the end, there was like a pirate, and he had a treasure chest, and they would get to pick stuff out of the treasure chest. So it was more like we called it like a Halloween house or a fun house or something. And then everybody would go through with like a guide. So I was one of the guides, and I dressed as Mary Poppins for that. Okay. Am I superstitious? I would say yes and no. I don't like totally believe in superstition stuff, but like stupid little things like see a penny, pick it up, all the day you'll have good luck. Like every time I see a penny, that runs through my head. And like I always think like, oh, if you don't pick it up, you get bad luck. But I don't really believe it. But I'll pick up the penny, you know, most of the time. 8. Do I ever see figures in my peripheral vision? All the time. Like all the time. It freaks me out. Yeah, I mean, and I know that that's probably just my eyes. It's not necessarily that there's really spirits there, but I see them all the time, and it makes me wonder. There was one time I woke up like out of a dead sleep. I was in an apartment by myself, and I woke up out of like a dead sleep, and I swear I saw a man standing on the side of the room. And then I woke up all the way and I looked, and of course there was nobody there. But it was like so real. So I have no idea if that was just me being crazy, or if there was some kind of shadow that I saw that was from like the tree outside or something. I don't know. But that totally freaked me out. And I see shadows, and I see, oh, and then after one of my cats had passed away, the next day I walked into the kitchen and I saw her, and then I kind of like turned away, and then I turned back because I'm like, wait, what? She passed away yesterday, and she wasn't there, of course, but I did see her. So I don't know, that was weird too. Number 9. Which urban legend scares you the most? I don't like really believe in urban legends, but the one that does scare me is that one about like, you know, the guy hiding in the backseat of your car, and then like the gas station attendant tries to get you out, and that one. I always like check the back of my car, and I'm pretty sure I do that because I heard that thing, and you know, it's an urban legend, and it goes around the internet every so often, and I think I looked it up on Snopes one time, and I think it's been debunked, but it still kind of freaks me out, so I check. Do I prefer gore or thrillers? As I said, I don't really like horror movies. I especially do not like gory horror movies, so, you know, mysterious or thriller type things, I'm much more likely to be able to watch and enjoy. Do you believe in multiple dimensions or worlds? I don't really think so. I do believe that we don't know everything that there is. So like if you were going to ask me, do I believe in ghosts or spirits or that kind of thing? I would have to say I'm not 100% sure, because I feel like we don't know everything. And I'm not sure that if I believe in them that I believe that it's a scary thing, but you know, I did really like the Ghost Whisperer show, and you know, that kind of thing. So, but as far as like other dimensions and stuff, I'm not sure about that. Okay, number 12. Have you ever made a potion of any sort? I have to reluctantly say yes. I've tried like silly love spells and, you know, things with, you know, wrapping up a candle and rose petals and a spell or whatever. I've done that in the past. I think it's kind of fun. I don't really believe it's going to change anything, but sometimes it's fun to think about stuff like that. Do you get scared easily? If we're talking like horror movie scared, that kind of thing, yes, I get scared easily. If we're talking about like real life, do I get scared easily? I'm not sure. I don't think so. But I mean, horror movie stuff doesn't really happen in real life. So if horror movie stuff did happen in real life, then yes, I'd probably get scared. I'm very aware, or I try and be very aware of my surroundings at night, you know, like when I'm walking and stuff, but that's just like a female safety thing. I don't think it's a horror movie type thing. Have I ever played Bloody Mary? That wasn't something that I ever heard of. In fact, the first time I heard of that, I think was on, Ghost Whisperer episode. So I never heard of that. But when I was a kid at slumber parties, they would play Light as a Feather. And I would refuse to participate because I have to say, you know, my dad passed away when I was 10. So I was a little bit overly sensitive to that kind of stuff. And I just didn't really want to do it. So I remember one time I was at a slumber party. And it's getting to be Baggy's dinner time. He's kind of yelling at me. So anyway, I was at a slumber party and they wanted to do Light as Feather and I didn't want to do it. So I went and we had cards because of course you always play BS at these parties and everything. I took some cards and I went into the laundry room and I was playing solitaire while they were doing Light as Feather. And so I was sitting on the floor and I was playing solitaire. And the girl's dad came home and he came through the garage and which went into the laundry room, and so he walks in and I was sitting there in the laundry room playing solitaire and I wasn't upset about it or anything, and he's like, what are you doing in here? And I'm like, oh, they're playing a game I don't want to play. And he's like, okay, well let's go back in and I'll stop playing that. So but I've never played Bloody Mary because I hadn't heard of it when I was a kid, and I wouldn't do it now. I saw the movie Candyman with my friend. She dragged me to it, and of course I didn't protest, but it scared me. And the next day, I was telling my brother about it, and he started saying it. We were in the car, and he's looking in the rearview mirror, and I got so upset with him. And he was laughing at me, and I'm like, I know I'm being silly, but you're truly making me feel scared, so stop saying it. Okay, do I believe in demons and the devil? Not really. I didn't really grow up with that. Jewish Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism has demons and stuff, but not really the devil. It's more imps and demons and that kind of thing, which is more old country stuff. But yeah, I don't really believe in hell and that kind of thing. Okay, let's see. 16 is if you're alone, you're home alone, but you hear footsteps in your house, what would you do? Well, I live alone in a tiny apartment, so if I hear footsteps in here, that's going to be really bad. So I don't know what I would do. Call 911. Okay, 18. If you could only wear one Halloween costume for the rest of your life, what would you be? I would probably be some sort of cat. Because I like them, and I think, I don't like them when they're putting their claws in my leg, like this one is. Get down, Baggy. But I think a cat costume's kind of fun because you can adapt it to whatever kind of mood you want. So you could be a cute cat or a sexy cat or a funny cat or a silly cat. And there's just a lot of different ways that you could take it. So I think that would be just a good costume to be every year. Let's see. Would you rather go to a Halloween party or go trick-or-treating? I would rather go to a party because I am 55 years old and I don't go trick-or-treating anymore. I did used to enjoy going trick-or-treating, but now I would rather have I've actually thrown some really cool Halloween costume parties with really cool food, and I made punch with I got an ice mold that was the shape of a brain, and I put that in the punch, and then I thought it was really clever. So I made a fruit punch, and then I had all kinds of little bottles of the little tiny I don't know what they're called, they're like the sampler bottles, or the airplane bottles of different kinds of liquors, all different flavors and stuff. And I had them all on a rack with a sign that said pick your poison, so people could make their own drinks with whatever alcohol they liked, but it all kind of went with the punch. So I thought that was kind of a cute idea that I did. Okay. Do you have to watch something happy after watching a horror movie so you can go to sleep? So actually, like I said, I don't really watch horror movies, but I do actually, although it doesn't really make sense, I like to read horror fiction occasionally. I really like Stephen King. But yes, if I'm reading like a really good scary thing, I need to like put on like a stupid sitcom or something like that afterwards so that I am not just like focusing on that. Whilst watching scary movies, are you the person who yells at the characters, the person with their eyes covered the whole time, or the person who falls asleep? I have my eyes covered, and I sort of yell at the characters, but I'm more likely to have my eyes covered and be peeking through my fingers. Favorite scary book? As I said, I love Stephen King, and I think the scariest book of his that I ever read was Salem's Lot. Good old vampire story, and that one definitely, I've read it a couple times, and it is such an excellent story. But yes, after I finish reading it, I need to like detox with something funny or silly or something like that before I can go to sleep if I'm reading it at night. How old were you when you saw your first horror movie? Probably like in my late teens. I've only actually gone to the movie theater and I've seen I think 3 horror movies in the movie theater. Yeah, I'm just, that's not a big thing for me to do. What was your first Halloween costume? I think my first Halloween costume was Little Red Riding Hood that I remember. My best Halloween costume, I think, when I was a kid. Well, actually, I had several good ones. I was Little Miss America one time, and I think I looked awesome. I had a long velvet dress that I had worn when I was a flower girl in my aunt's wedding, and then my dad made me a sash that said Little Miss America, I think, and then I had these big long flowers, and my hair was in a tiara, and yeah, I felt extremely styling that year. I was Little Bo Peep one year, and my little brother was my sheep. My mom made him a sheep costume with like a white fuzzy flannel, and then she had like a faux leather that she put on the hands and inside the ears and stuff like that. And it had a little hood, and it had mitts and everything. And like he wore, without the hood and stuff, he wore that as pajamas for like the next year. But we were cute. I had a long patchwork skirt, and I had a cane, an old cane that was my grandmother's, so we put a big bow on it, so I had a crook, and I had a big straw hat, and like I said, my brother was dressed as a sheep, and I put like an elastic, like a hair elastic, not a ponytail, but like a headband type thing, but it fit around his neck loosely, and I put that and then put the dog leash on him, and he was my sheep. We got a lot of candy that year because we were cute. What are you going to be for Halloween this year? I'm going to be a leopard. I have leopard ears, and I got a big black fuzzy tail, and I have a leopard top. I have leopard shoes, and I'm going to do my makeup and stuff, and I'm going to be spending the day with my niece and nephews and my brother and sister-in-law. So I think that will be a nice, comfortable costume, but I'll still feel cute. And the last question is, if you could have a spooky Halloween pet, black cat, owl, bat, rat, wolf, what would you pick? Well, since I have a big fat black cat who's sitting right next to me and looking at me and asking me for dinner right now, I think that that would have to be my answer, is I would have, and I do have, a black cat. But he's not very spooky, I gotta say. He's pretty cuddly. So, if I were gonna be a witch, I would be a good witch, and he would be my cuddly black cat familiar. So, that is the Halloween tag. It's kind of fun to go through. Trying to think if I have any fun Halloween stories to tell you. Let's see, when I was in 8th grade, I went to the Halloween dance at the school, and I had this awesome costume. It was like a genie costume that, I don't know, my mom's friend had given it to her, and it was like really elaborate, very well-made costume. And I wore that to this Halloween dance in 8th grade, and this guy asked me to dance, and I danced with him, and I was so shy, I never looked at him. And the next day, he asked me to go steady, and he was my first boyfriend who broke up with me because I wouldn't kiss him. So that was, yeah, that was my first romance. I think it consisted of 2 weeks of talking on the phone. Let's see, what else? What other Halloween things? As I said, I've had a couple really cool Halloween parties. You know, I've been doing theater my whole life, so like dressing up and, you know, makeup and costumes and stuff like that is something I totally love, and I totally love Halloween. I just am not into like the horror aspects of it. So I don't know. I guess that's a contrast, but that's how it is. Okay, so while I was doing that tag, I managed to get the one strand of floss and bead it all the way down to here. And it's good that we're in the tag because I also ran out of floss, and I can't rethread my needle on camera because this is a beading needle and it's so tiny. Oops, there you go. And it's hard to do. So anyway, I think that's going to be it for now. I hope you guys have a really wonderful Halloween this Saturday. If you have kids in your life, I hope that they have a lot of fun and that you enjoy seeing them all dressed up, etc. And I will see you guys again during my regular FlossTube video this Sunday, which will be November 1st. Can you believe it's November already? So in the meantime, have a great rest of the week, everybody, and happy Halloween. This is Carla. Bye-bye.